Kathy, can you hear me? Mark, do you know who's taking the roll? Is it Kathy or Kristen?
Yes, I can hear you. No, that's the county clerk today, Chairman.
Is it Linda or Nancy? You know who's?
Nancy.
It's Nancy.
Okay, good.
Did you not want me to take the roll?
No, I'm going to torture you during the meeting.
Okay. No, I had it on mute just listening to your meeting. I was a county commissioner years ago when the same issue was before us.
Nancy?
How'd they solve that one?
Hey, Nancy,
Yes,
who trained you as a county commissioner?
you did.
Thank you. Okay.
You did.
I don't think
Taught
so.
me everything I know, including things today.
Okay.
Including things you didn't want to know, right?
Yeah. All right. Is it okay? It's 4 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. The first item of business is the invocation with Commissioner Wilkins. Burlestein?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let us pray. Today, my Heavenly Father, we come to you, thanking you for taking care of us through all the fright and the turmoil that we have witnessed this past week. Dear God, we ask you to look down on us and heal our land and look out for the weak and the children. We know that the darkest hour comes before the dawn, but we're begging you to come into our midst and make us whole again. Where there's hate, change it to love. And where there's darkness, change it to sunshine. Bless our commissioners individually and the people of this county. We ask in your sake forever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Burlestein. Commissioner Nash, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the
United
United
States
of the United States of America,
and to the
to
republic
the republic
for which is
which
which
is state
stands
one nation,
Amen.
nation
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
with
and
liberty and justice for all.
justice.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Nash. Now, Clerk, could we call the roll? And I'd like everyone to give their GPS coordinates.
Commissioner Brown.
Lincoln Township. Muskegon,
Thank you.
Michigan.
Commissioner Sear.
Here, Muskegon County.
Thank you. Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Here, City of Muskegon.
Thank you. Commissioner Hughes.
Here, Muskegon Township, Michigan.
Thank you. Commissioner Laring.
Here, Muskegon County Hall of Justice.
Thank you. Vice Chair Nash.
here, City of Muskegon.
Thank you. Commissioner Pagel.
Mute me. Oh, here I am, Muskegon County Courthouse.
Thank you. Chairman Skolnick.
Here, City of Norton Shores.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Nancy.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Here, Muskegon Heights.
Thank you. That concludes the roll call. There are 9 present, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Nash, support by Commissioner Hovey Wright. Are there any corrections, comments, anything on the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I have a comment if I may.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. So the board rules that were just adopted last year indicate that all new motions and resolutions are supposed to go before committee. That was a new rule that was implemented last year into our county. And so there's a couple of resolutions that are up for adoption that should have been in a committee. I object to them being on the agenda today.
Okay.
I get a corporate council response to the board rules, please.
Yeah, give me 1 second because I think there is an exception for resolutions, but give me 1 second. So the board rule, this is board rule number rule 6, section 1. It says, except in the case of a motion that is deemed an emergency matter by a vote of at least 2/3 of the commission elected and serving, no commissioner may make any motion, and the board will not consider action on any motion on any substantive county matter or issue, parens, excluding staff recommended matters, routine county matters, and resolutions, proclamations, and tribute requests under section 2, unless the subject matter of the motion has first been referred to a committee for consideration and recommendation by that committee. Section 2 refers to resolutions, proclamation, and tribute requests. And it states resolutions, proclamations, and tribute requests submitted by commissioners or the public will not be acted upon by the Board of Commissioners at the time presented unless time sensitive. All such requests will be referred for chair, vice chair / administrative review and for recommendations to the board at a later date regarding a consideration of the request for a future regular board meeting, or B, receipt of the request as information only.
So I would like to make a motion that these two resolutions on here are scratched from the agenda.
Today.
I second.
There's a motion on the table for the agenda. Are they looking for an amendment to the agenda?
I have an
Yes.
amendment. I submitted an amendment to Mark.
What's the other item?
The extension of the stay-at-home order, Marcia.
Oh, thank you.
So again, if I understood what you read from the corporate counsel, I'm talking to you, Mike. If I understand what you read, these motions are not to be heard by the board till they went through committee, if that's my understanding.
Well, the board rule section 2 says all such requests will be referred for chair / vice chair / administrative review and for recommendations to the board at a later date regarding parens A, consideration of the request at a future regular board meeting, or B, receipt of the request as information only. So that rule appears to me to give administrative oversight on whether they are to be considered on the agenda for a particular meeting to the chair, vice chair / administrative review, depending upon when they were submitted.
So my motion was seconded to have these removed from the agenda, and we have a second.
I would like to speak to that. Mr. Chair?
Chairman.
Just a minute. Yeah, go ahead, Marcia.
Yeah, both of those items, the motion to, or the resolution to extend the restrictions to January 15th, which is the end of this week. And if that ends, then, it makes no sense. It has to be voted on today. And the other one, there are items, there are threats to our own capital in Lansing next week. And so I think that this is very timely and critical.
Mike, what do you recommend we do here? I know there's a motion, but what do you think?
So there are a couple of issues to keep in mind. One is if the matter is deemed an emergency, like for instance, the state of emergency, then the board could certainly vote by a 2/3 majority to consider that matter. I think certainly it qualifies as timely and sensitive in terms of the expiration of the local state of emergency and aligning that with the current MDHHS order and considering your courts and your buildings are still closed. But I will let the Board of Commissioners determine that. The second issue is with respect to other resolutions, proclamations, and tribute requests. It seems to me that that when those requests are received, they can be referred to a board meeting, which appears to have occurred in this instance to the extent that they are on the agenda. But I will note that under Section 2, there is additional information that says submittal of information to the board or receipt of information by the board does not constitute approval, endorsement, or consent. So in that respect, I believe that a motion can be properly made, supported, and voted on to amend the agenda to remove an item if that is the will of the board.
Okay, so the motion, what is the motion?
So the motion,
Motion.
Mr. Chairman, is to approve the agenda. It was moved by Commissioner Nash and seconded by Commissioner Hovey Wright. And
We
then
have a
there
second.
was,
Thank you.
then there was another motion to remove from the agenda the two resolutions moved by Commissioner Laring and seconded by Commissioner Pago.
Okay, so was the second motion an amendment of the approval of the agenda?
It was not
Yes.
acknowledged as an amendment. Was that an amendment?
It is an amendment to the agenda that we scratch those two items from the agenda.
Okay,
Okay,
so there's an amendment to remove those two items from the agenda. So we vote on the amendment first, is that correct?
correct.
Okay, is there any other, so if we vote yes to this, those two items are removed. If we vote no, they stay on the agenda. Is that correct, Nancy?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Nash.
I just wanted to add that I think that these items are more urgent than what it may seem to some of the commissioners. Basically, we have a time-sensitive emergency situation, and we also have a strong response from our community that we should take action on both of these items. And I think considering that, we need to make sure that we send a message to our community where we're standing. To ignore this, I think, would be a travesty to the community.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment if I may.
Yes, Mr. Larry.
So, thank you. So we have known about this date. We just met last Thursday in committee. The idea of extending the executive order or the HHS mandates and the shutdown of the county could have came up in committee last week for debate. It didn't come up last week. This date is no surprise. There is no state of emergency in Muskegon County where we need to extend the authoritative measure to the administration or to keep our emergency response management team activated at this time. There is no current emergency, and it certainly had time to come up last week. This date is no surprise to anybody for this extension. Secondly, there is no threat to Muskegon County, violence towards the county or from the residents within the county. This other motion does not need to be heard this week in front of the county because there is no threat to the county and there is no violence within the county regarding this. So I see both of these as mute issues and should be pushed back to some other committee.
Okay, is there anyone else? If not, roll call vote, please. So a yes is to remove the two items. A no is to leave them on the agenda.
No.
Commissioner
Is
Sears.
that correct? Is that correct, the way Bob's just stated it?
Mhm.
That yes leaves them on?
Is
And
that?
No.
votes no. That's opposite of that.
Yes is to remove.
No. He asked us to take them off.
He's
So we
just,
take 'em
he's
off.
just signifying what your vote will mean.
So
If you
no
say a
means you leave
yes
them on
vote,
there.
if you say a yes vote, then you're voting to remove them. We're voting on the agenda.
Yes, that's
Removal.
right. That's what I thought. Okay.
On
Just
the
wanted to make sure
amendment,
I understood.
If you say no, that means we're keeping them on.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
No.
Commissioner Hughes,
No,
Wait a minute, wait. No means that they stay on, is that correct?
Correct.
So
yes,
Okay,
Chairman Skolnick, the
yes,
motion is an amendment to remove those two resolutions from the agenda.
okay.
If
I
they're
got you.
voting yes, they're voting yes to remove them from the agenda. If they're voting no, they're voting to keep them on the
All
agenda.
right, just so everybody, I was confused. Okay, keep going.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
No.
Commissioner Hughes,
no,
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
No.
Commissioner Pagel,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
No.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
No,
The vote is 4 yes, 5 no.
okay. So now we'll vote on the approval of the agenda.
Correct.
Can,
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
yes,
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pagel,
no.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Commissioner Sear,
No.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes,
5 yes, 4 no.
okay. Thank you, Clerk. The next item is the approval of the minutes of the December 17th, 2020 regular meeting and approval of the minutes of the January 5th, 2021 organizational meeting.
so moved.
Support.
Any comments or corrections on the minutes of those two meetings? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
I'm sorry, was that yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pagel,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. The next item agenda, we have a presentation by the Director of Public Health, Kathy Moore, on the COVID-19 situation. Kathy, are you there?
Sear.
Be on the line?
Yeah, I'm here. Let's see. Trying to get,
Oh, there you are.
okay, yes, thank you. Oh, there I am. I do have a very brief slide if Christian or Kathy Tharp could help me out with that one. Okay, I'm going to run through this part fast because I know we want to get to the vaccine. We were very concerned around Thanksgiving, mid-November, that these numbers would continue to go up after the social activities of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. These numbers have continued to gradually go down, and we are exceptionally pleased with those numbers. So we'll move to the next. Positivity rate went down as low as 9.6 recently. It's up to 10.7 that is, again, just a reflection of testing, not of the percentage of our population that is positive. If you look at the chart on the lower right, you will see that though Muskegon County is 10.7% positivity rate, our new cases per million, which actually helps to equalize these new cases, more like apples to apples. Our new cases per million is lower than the Michigan average, the regional average, Kent County, and Ottawa. So,
Right.
yay Muskegon. Next. The hospital, this is just the bed occupancy percentage of the hospitals in our region, where any of our residents may find themselves inpatients, and that's where they are. Looking specifically at the COVID patient status of Mercy Health, which is the only hospital system in Muskegon County, as of yesterday, that's actually the 10th. So 41 inpatients, 14 of those ICU, 7 on the ventilator, and 22 presented to the emergency department for COVID-like symptoms. And that was 22 on Saturday. Our positivity rate and our number of cases are actually moving in a good direction, but our number of deaths continue to be at a high percentage in proportion to other counties of similar size and population, but even contiguous counties percentages. So we are still seeing deaths, especially for those over the age group of 80 plus. Next. This is just a quick snapshot of the prison status situation. It's really telling us now that just like with our community rate, we are now seeing more inmates and employees recovering instead of being infected. So that is moving in a positive direction as well. Next. So here's the big news. Here's the big topic. Michigan announced that they are expanding the eligibility for individuals to be vaccinated to age 65 plus. They did this at a time where here we in public health had 0 vaccines. Right to date, we still have 0 vaccines available. So we are working with our local partners and working with the state, but it was a great announcement. It gave people a lot of hope, but possibly false hope until we can get the vaccine supply here in Muskegon County. This chart just shows their new reprioritized categories. Age 65 plus, which initially was in phase 1C, they have been moved up above even those groups that were originally targeted in phase 1B. The frontline essential workers, they have defined that further to mean federal government frontline workers, and they've moved other business essential workers a little down on that chart. Childcare and teachers and congregate care facilities. And at the same time, we have not completed vaccinations for all of the workers in the healthcare priority 1A group. The long-term care facilities and adult foster care facilities have been contracted directly from federal to CVS and Walgreens. I can say that most of those are scheduled, but the majority of those vaccinations have not taken place yet. Next slide. This is a MDHHS chart intended to give people a specific idea of when wherever they fall into this category of the color chart where the vaccinations will fall. Long-term care residents, the second column there under 1A, should have started in January, and yes, indeed, they are scheduled in January. Individuals 75 years and over, mid-January, frontline workers, mid-January. So it's really the group 1C, 65 to 75 year olds that was accelerated in the eligibility list, and they will now be eligible when vaccine is available to be vaccinated as well. I wanted to point out that here they have in 1B, the second row, they have frontline state, federal responders, and then later, the last row in the purple color 1B, they have other essential frontline workers scheduled to start vaccinations in May. And then at the the second to the last, or the last in 1C, all remaining essential workers scheduled to start vaccinations much later in September. But that gradual shade means if vaccine is available, they will likely be allowed to start vaccinating there too. So vaccinations will occur parallel based on those categories announced and highly publicized by the state. And but at this time, as of Friday, Muskegon County Public Health had 0 vaccines. We have received only 800 Moderna vaccines to date. And as of Friday, every dose was gone. So next. The doses administered overall, so not just public health, our local hospital also received doses of Pfizer. And then we have 2 federally qualified health centers that received very small doses of Moderna, 200 each. So total doses received to date in Muskegon County, 9,000 doses. Total administered to date, 3,473. For public health Muskegon County, our total received is 800 and our total administered is 800. Next, please. The vaccination request. So because we were actually in the middle of a meeting when the press conference was held, and probably 14 minutes after it was announced, or in the middle of that, after the press conference started, I started getting phone calls immediately saying that they want to schedule vaccinations. And that never stopped. So it started the day of the press conference, minutes after. It has not stopped yet. Our county IT department has expanded our voicemail capability. And Health West has helped us create forms so that we can capture the names and contact information of individuals interested in getting vaccine, so that when it's available, we can reach out and schedule. There was just so much misinformation and miscommunication. Our residents really felt like, they should be able to get vaccinated right now. And we just do not have the supply. In addition, our hospital was not sent any additional supplies this week as well. So Muskegon County, West Michigan, but then Muskegon County especially is in a very precarious position. And we just want people to understand that we would love to help them. We would love to vaccinate them, but we absolutely have to have the vaccine to do so. If you have constituents who is interested in getting on the list, we will still prioritize those individuals aged 75 years of age and older, and those with medical conditions that put them at greater risk. To date, as of this morning, we have received over 11,870 requests. Of that, 4,388 are age 75 years of age and older. 7,482 are just that 65 to 74 age range that was just added last week. And then 1,811 are those less than 65 years of age. And they are not even scheduled to be vaccinated until November. So this, you know, the whole announcement, and then with us finding a way to at least collect their information, I feel like we may be setting people up for disappointment, like their name is on a list, but we have no vaccine. We can't even tell them when we're going to get it or if we're going to get it for sure. But this is where we are right now. That blue hyperlink is a direct link for individuals to get their name on the list. And another way is to visit muskegonhealth.net, but they have to scroll down and do a couple of clicks to get to that registration information. We do have amazingly quite a few residents who don't have internet access or really struggle to navigate the system setup. We've had people just show up here and say, I don't have a computer, or I just want to talk to somebody to make sure my name is on the list. We are asking that they call 724-8856. But, you know, if they're here, we're giving them a form, we're taking the information. The state published my number directly, so I've answered 84 calls, and I just key them in when I answer them, because it's easier to ask those 8 questions than it is to redirect them somewhere else. Next. Oh, Commissioner Wright, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm a little confused because I got my vaccine today, partially because I'm a volunteer to help out with the vaccine production, or, you know, getting them in arms, etc. And they told me that they did 700 vaccines yesterday, and they were Pfizer. And so far, as of today at 1 o'clock, they had done 500.
Yep, that is Mercy Health. And Mercy Health has a schedule. And if that link was shared, I actually, it should have been shared with certain groups that were eligible and considered a priority. It was shared.
Right.
It was shared beyond that group, and some of those people actually went in and filled up all that whole schedule. So that is a very unfortunate situation. I mean, some of those individuals are indeed eligible and should have been prioritized. And then some, because it was shared, some people signed up and should not have been eligible. So with that, I am working with Mercy Health. They have agreed to transfer some doses over, because I had actually identified some specific essential workers and seniors that needed prioritization, and they were not able to be scheduled because other people sort of trumped them or hijacked the system.
Kathy, I have a question. I noticed on the previous slide that it looked like Mercy had thousands of doses more than they had administered. Is that just because they just got them?
No, that is just because they were really trying to identify the prioritization groups. And also, some of those doses are reserved for second doses. And so they are not eligible to be scheduled for first doses.
Okay.
Kathy, could you please go back to page 8 for a minute here? I'm confused. Eight, please. Page 8. Received 9,000 doses and administered. I must be missing something here. 3,473, but we don't have any doses. I'm confused.
Right. So So when I say we, I mean Public Health Muskegon County.
Oh,
So
okay.
yep, so our supply is in the blue. We received 800 doses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay,
Ms. Moore,
yes.
could you please make sure that we get a JPEG copy of this presentation?
Yes,
So
please.
that we may be able to share it with the community?
Yes, absolutely. And yes, I will definitely.
I also wanted to know, have they made steps to vaccinate the employees at the prison?
Yes, so they were one of the priority groups. Of all the employees at the prison, we had 17 medical workers that were interested in being vaccinated, and I believe 89 employees or correction officers and employees. Remember, these vaccines are emergency use authorization, so they cannot be mandated. They are not mandated. So I did send that link to the Michigan Department of Corrections for their employees to be scheduled. What I am finding that, some people hesitated. They may have clicked on the link and not had any appointments available at this time. So yes, they were connected, Commissioner Nash. I can't say that all of them successfully followed up and scheduled.
Well, I will say your staff did a great job in supporting our organization and getting set up and also administering that vaccination. And I believe pretty much most of the staff went out and got that taken care of right away.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys are doing a great job out there. Do you have any idea, or the state signaling anything as far as when new doses will be coming down?
They are not. So one of the things that I realized on Friday when I got the list of the doses that were going to be shipped across the state is that, perhaps we needed to work more closely with our state representatives. So Sabo and Van Workum. So Dr. Grill from Mercy Health reached out immediately. We have some of our other community partners who have reached out. I didn't think we needed to lobby. I thought that it may be, distributed proportionate to the population or some other formula that I could predict. So we are now actually trying to contact more people to say, you gotta take care of Muskegon County residents as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy.
Kathy, Kim, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to thank Kathy for all of her stellar work.
Yeah.
Two quick questions. One is, once you get the vaccine, is it effective? And second, what if you don't get the booster shot or the second shot?
So the vaccine is a little more than 50% effective after the first dose. Some of the people, like Commissioner Hovey Wright, who has also volunteered to work with us at a clinic if possible, we are asking that they get the vaccine at least 7 days before they assist us at a community clinic so that the immunity would have been built. The second dose for Moderna is at least 28 days and any time after. And the second dose for Pfizer is at least after 21 days and any time after. If you do not get the second dose, you are partially vaccinated. But so far, research is saying that it is adequately effective. But of course, the second dose brings it up to that 90-95% as some of the manufacturers have boasted.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Thank you. Kathy, two parts. I'm I appreciate the numbers, particularly the drop in cases in Muskegon County. I'm not quite sure how that reflects as to the resolution in front of us with an emergency declaration in front of us to keep active. I don't suppose you can answer that. But my second question is, maybe you can respond to that. But my second question relates to the second dose. I see you've received 800, you've distributed 800. Where are these people supposed to go for their second dose?
So we are asking, and I did talk to all of the providers who receive vaccinations in Muskegon County today. We are asking everyone to get your second dose from the same location you received your first dose. It's much better to track that way. They get a appointment card right after they get their first dose. And so everyone should get their second dose at the same location from the same provider. The first question, our cases are definitely indeed going down, and we are very pleased with that. But the virus is still, it's still out there in Muskegon County. The vaccine does not, they did not test the vaccine to see if the person who is vaccinated can or cannot transfer that virus, even though they are protected somewhat. So we are still asking that people continue the safety mitigation measures. But we do see, we see a bright light at the end of the tunnel. We just can't tell how far away that end of the tunnel is right now.
So back to my second question, you've received 800 doses, and when you get new doses, you're going to be having an influx of people wanting the first dose, and yet you're going to probably about the same timeline. I see a lot of these other providers looks like they've set and reserved the second dose, but we have not.
We have not, but the state has. So the state has taken the doses that they received from the feds, split them in half. So when they sent us 800, they assured us that they had an additional 800 in a warehouse for our second dose.
Thank you.
Okay, Kathy, thank you. We need to move on. Kathy, you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel really bad for our residents because it makes, they feel disenfranchised. They're hearing all over the news that vaccine is available and it's not available here just yet. But we are working with Mercy. They are helping us to take care of some of the population that we've deemed essential and or most vulnerable. So thank you to our community partners.
Okay, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
All right, moving on. The next item is public comment on an agenda item. If anyone would like to make a comment on an agenda item, now is your opportunity. I see there's 100 participants on the call.
You got Mike Trout.
Okay. Mike Trout, would you like to speak? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. Appreciate it, Chairman. My name is Mike Trout. I'm the director of the Michigan Aeronautics Commission. I reside at my address is 2700 East Airport Service Drive. I'm currently in Jackson County. I'm commenting on item 12A. Obviously, we've been working with the FAA, the state of Michigan, to try and work out your issues and help where we can. Obviously, today, my message is one of urgency. I can't stress enough how important it is that you make a decision in moving forward on the airport. MDOT and the Aeronautics Commission, has a role in licensing your facility, in helping with funding, and as a resource. And I'm offering myself and my staff to you, and anything we can do to move this along would be greatly appreciated, not only by the FAA, but by the state of Michigan. And that, Mr. Chairman, is is my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Is there anyone else?
You got
Yeah,
Kip
Mr.
Smith.
Chairman.
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't know who's next.
Kip Smith was next.
Okay, Kip.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Appreciate you letting me speak here. I have two agenda items I'd like to speak to. The first being 12A that Mike Trout had just spoke on. As you know, I work out with SkyWest, and it is important for our airport to maintain commercial service because that's how Muskegon goes. I have always opposed privatization. I do think that we need management at the airport. So yes, I hope a decision is made as well. And my second comment on the agenda item refers to the resolution, which was previously discussed. I do support that resolution, especially the paragraph, whereas we recognize the deep divide that exists in the county, which is evident in our community. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, as a Democrat, I've heard a lot of Democrats just wanting to get people arrested and stuff. We're Americans, and it's important that innocent until proven guilty. On the same other side, I've heard Republicans say everything that happened out there was Antifa, that it was snowflake Democrats and radicals out there doing it. And the thing is, let's let the facts speak. Nobody should be throwing mud either side. We're not Americans. We're not we're not Republicans. We're not Democrats. We are Americans, and we should stand strong as Americans. And I thank you, Mr. Skolnick, for the time you've allowed me here.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Smith.
Next up is Chris Kayola.
Hi, this is Chris Kayola. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, Chris.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm a little bit surprised to see this agenda item come up under, where is it, 11C? No, sorry. Yeah, 11C, storming of the Capitol. I fully condemn the actions of people breaking into the Capitol building and the shenanigans that went on there. Thought it was disgraceful, and I think they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But I don't understand how the board put this on their agenda. I downloaded the agenda at 10:26 this morning, and it's not on that agenda. And I thought there was a statutory requirement to, put a word out before this meeting happens. And not being able to see that, I was a little confused because I know I spoke to some board members. They knew that it was going to be on the agenda. Maybe they got a different agenda than the public got. But I downloaded the agenda again at 12:55, and not only that appeared on there, but all the attachments to the agenda. And I think it's unfair to the public to have something put on the agenda late in the day, especially when they've probably already downloaded it and understand what's supposed to be on there and they're getting prepared for it. Not really sure why it's on there and why this commission has to make a comment on it. I think it's pretty clear what's gone on, and any normal human being would want, there to be people obeying the law. So I'm just kind of amazed by you having to be able to do that. And I don't understand why the importance of it to keep it on this particular meeting. So that's my comment.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Next up is Kid Mahoney.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, Ken. Yes, we can.
Okay, I have two things. The health department resolution is important just to keep us aligned with what the state of Michigan is doing, so that we don't have a patchwork throughout the state as to who's doing what and where. If we align with them, then somebody going from Kent County to Muskegon County is following the same rules. The other one, the resolution condemning the violence that occurred in DC. All of you folks took an oath to uphold the Constitution, defend and protect it. just a resolution saying that's what we need to do or intend to do. Violence to affect the political agenda is a violation of the rule of law, and we all know that. So I expect that all of you will support this resolution as upholding your oath. Thank you.
Next up is Tim Nash.
I'm using Tim Nash's phone. This is Dan Stout with the Muskegon County Airport Commissioners. Just have a few items to go over. We've been without a supervisor since February this last year. Mark Eisenbar stated that all the positions being filled out here would total $765,000. Under the FAA, we're only required to have a manager. Those two supervisory positions would not be required to be filled out here at this time. Also, the 6 employees that we have out here, one's shared between the airport and the parks. The other 2 employees that we have out here are new employees through the county. It would take them about 5 years to be maxed out for their step raises. And that total cost would be $690,464. So right now, what Mark's and Bob are saying that the budget's going to be $765,000. That's going to be a long ways down the road. And plus the 2 supervisory positions are not required, like I stated. F3 stated on the work session meeting that they are looking for a manager right now because they're not qualified to operate Part 139 commercial airports at this time. So we've been kicking the can around with the FAA. The FAA is going to pull our license, and we're not going to get commercial airlines in here if we keep kicking the can around with the FAA. And I also like to make a quote from Bob Lukens that was texted to the entire staff out here. And I quote, F3 airport management would be a very risky proposition. And that was texted to all of us here at the airport. We've had Mark Eisenbar out here talking highly, talking on our behalf. And then he goes in front of you guys and talks about this F3 management company.
Your time is up. I'm sorry. Okay, who's next?
Next up is Donna Pennington.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Donna Pennington, 1418 Lakeshore Drive. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I stand before you to speak in support of the resolution to condemn the violence in Washington, D.C., and to express my horror in having public officials in my own community, including Commissioners Laring and Pago, who are continuing to exhort their followers to contest the results of the 2020 election in a way that could result in further violence and loss of life. These same officials have been openly defying the orders of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services inside dining, and again exhorting their followers to do the same. In 2016, my fellow Democrats and I suffered a bitter defeat in the presidential election, which we won the popular vote by 3 million votes and experienced hacking by the Russian government, and yet still we lost. What did we do? Almost 1 million women descended on the Capitol in pink hats and peacefully demonstrated in the streets. Then we returned home, rolled up our sleeves, and got to work on the 2018 and 2020 elections so that we would have a better outcome. We didn't file dozens of lawsuits, attempt to undermine people's confidence in our democratic process, and most importantly, we didn't engage in violent behavior that destroyed lives and property. So I would urge our public officials to be responsible in their public statements and to support the election results that have been certified by the Electoral College, and to support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Next up, we have Carly and Derek Sanders.
Yes, this is Derek Sanders at 734 Vardaman Drive in North Muskegon, Michigan. I think Donna said it probably much more articulate than I could, but I strongly support the condemnation of the storming of our Capitol. It was an act of sedition. And I also echo her thoughts on our fellow commissioners in our county that either participated in that while attending that event, or through their actions encouraged their supporters to do the same. And I think that's deeply disappointing. I agree that we're all Americans before we're Democrats or Republicans. But when you openly call for the overthrow of our government, I do think it somewhat disqualifies you from serving in that same government. Appreciate your time, commissioners, and thank you for giving me my chance to speak.
Thank you, Derek.
Next up is Michael Del Percio.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to address both of the resolution and the extension of the declaration of emergency. I don't think we should be under a declaration to begin with, because we have been since March 10th of 2020 under these restrictions from Michigan leadership. That leadership and these restrictions are destroying our constitutional freedom of right to work, right to travel, right to worship, right to own property and businesses, and even our self-determination on how to dress. I say we've had enough. I think leadership has really no idea, nor does science have any idea, that after almost a year of all these actions, we have not really stopped, mitigated, or flattened the curve of the COVID virus. But it seems to be miraculous that all of a sudden we almost have no deaths from influenza. You know, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is the definition of ignorance. I think we should open up Muskegon area like other states have opened up their areas. Wisconsin, Indiana, and Illinois. We just went through those for the holidays, and every single restaurant was open. All the public things were open. I think we need to stop the persecution of turning our law-abiding citizens into criminals with the actions from both local and state. We should be introducing a resolution like the Baraga County, Michigan did, which that they were going to resist any further influence from Lansing. Speaking on the resolution, I object completely to this resolution, being that there was no outrage or shock by this commission over the burning, looting, and economic devastation caused by the protesters storming several of the country's major cities, including Grand Rapids.
Mr. Del Percio, your time is up. I'm sorry. You're done. Thank you.
Next up is Dustin Fox.
Hey, commissioners. This is Dustin Fox with the county airport with the guys down here. I just want to make a statement about you got 6 guys out here that are dedicated to this airport and would do anything for this airport. And I feel bringing in a management company is kind of a disgrace to the county, really. I think the county needs to step up and take care of their own. And we have plenty of ideas that we can do to save money. Like you were saying, Nash, that we have our own budget, our commercial people that can take care of the advertising and whatnot. I just feel that going with a management company is a really horrible idea. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dustin.
Next up is Don Munsky.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. My name's Don Munsky, and I live at 1078 Brookway Court in Norton Shores. And my comment is directed to the extending the local state of emergency. I think that it's necessary because we're not past the state of emergency. People are still getting sick, and we still need to protect each other and ourselves from transmitting the virus. And I think that helps by having the resolution pass. The other resolution is condemning the storming of the US Capitol. And I'd like to point out to the commission that what I consider to be one of the key paragraphs is we recognize the deep divide that exists in our country, which is evident in our own community, and hope that this unprecedented event invites productive and civil discussions that will move the country and this community towards unity. And that is what I think you should focus on in considering voting on this resolution, is that sentence or that paragraph, because that is what is utmost important, is to encourage the community to heal and not take up arms against each other as we have done in our past, such as the Civil War, and even recently with the invasion of the Capitol. And with the death of 2 of the police officers, I would think that anyone who is for law and order would vote for this resolution, because this is a resolution for law and order. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Munski.
Next up, we have Ryan Bennett.
Good afternoon, commissioners. This is Ryan Bennett, 1538 White Pine Court, Twin Lake, Michigan. I'm a little bit shocked that we're here and at a 5-4 vote, it took a 5-4 vote to denounce a violent attempted insurrection of our nation's capital, and it passed by 1 vote just to pass a resolution to denounce violence. That is shocking to me. While I expect Commissioners Laring and Pago to be opposed of denouncing such violence due to the rhetoric on their social media page, I am shocked that Commissioner Sear and Commissioners Brown are going along with them. I want to thank you, Commissioner Skolnick, for allowing this motion, this resolution to get the vote and casting that vote, along with Commissioners Hovey, Wright, Nash, Wilkins, and Hughes for doing the right thing in this instance. There's just no time as Americans where we shouldn't come together to denounce these violent actions. I want to thank Clerk Waters and her staff, the hardworking election officials throughout our county who have continued to do the work of the people in spite of the constant attacks on their integrity and their hard work. Thank you, commissioners, and I appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
Next up is Mr. Del Percio already spoke, so we're not going to be able to let him speak again. Jason Hall, you're up next. Jason Hall.
He's muted.
Can we unmute Jason Hall?
While we're waiting, Mr. Chair, could you remind the audience how to get on the, how to
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Star 6?
Jason
All right,
Hall.
thank you. Thank you, Jason Hall, Muskegon County, Bossett Road. I oppose this resolution on the basis of the way it is written. What you have done, you have to understand that words have meanings. You are desecrating every single person that went to Washington, D.C. You have failed to allow the public to know that Capitol building is open Monday through Saturday to the public. Thousands, tens of thousands of people walk through that Capitol building legally, enjoying what they could see, learn, and the experience of being there. They were representing their inalienable rights to do this. But yet you want to sit and condemn every single person the way you have written this. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. And this board seems to push this word democracy. These are the reasons why you have people out there who are not wanting this resolution the way it is written, because you are wanting to divide and not unite, or not unite with the way it is written. You need to go back, and if it takes a dictionary, use one. These words have meanings and they will come back to haunt you. Everybody wants every single criminal that made an illegal act there should be arrested. FBI should be using every possible AI, ID, facial recognition to pull those individuals in and have them arrested, every criminal charge possible that they can, to make a point. This is not the way to unite people. We do not overthrow our governments. But to
Mr. Hall.
Thank you.
Up, sir. Mr. Chair, we have Megan Olson, who has not been able to raise her hand. She wants to give a public comment.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can we allow Megan Olson to be able to make comment? Oh, Miss Olson.
I don't see anybody.
I don't know why she's not. Oh, well, we have Mr. Stout back, but he already spoke. Megan, I'm not sure what the technical difficulties are, but for some reason, we're not able to get her in on the comment section.
I don't see her, a little box with her name on it either.
I do not see her name in the list
Yeah,
of participants.
It just disappeared. So, okay.
Okay, that's it for public comment. Moving on, I have some one item of communications. It's a resolution from the Wexford County Board of Commissioners supporting local business. I would ask that that just be placed on file. Do we need a motion for that?
No, we don't.
Okay. The next item, we have some committee board reports. The first being courts and public safety. Commissioner Pego, if you would give your report.
Yes, I will. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The Courts and Public Safety Committee met on January 7th, 2021. It was recommended, and I move CPS 21/01-01 to accept the 2019 Homeland Security Grant Program intergovernmental agreement between the West Michigan Regional Medical Consortium and the Muskegon County on behalf of the Muskegon County Emergency Services Management, and direct the board chair and appropriate staff to sign the agreement. CPS 21-01-02 to accept the fiscal year 21 snowmobile and off-road vehicle law enforcement grant in the amount of $2,000 for snowmobile and $10,000 for ORV from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. CPS 21/01-03 to approve the Sheriff's Office to accept their portion of the Innovations and Supervision Initiative grant in the amount of $67,167 and amend the budget accordingly. CPS 21/01-04 to authorize the Sheriff's Office to pay the outstanding invoices to Concierge Corrections LLC and ProMed totaling $58,711.44 related to fiscal year 2020 based on the attached listing. CPS 21/01-05 to authorize the board chairperson to sign the contract with the Michigan Department of Corrections and accept the fiscal year 21 Community Corrections Grant in the amount of $196,200. CPS 21/01-06 to grant permission for the Public Defender Office to apply the OJJDP FY 2021 Enhancing Juvenile Indigent Defense Grant. CPS 21/01-07 to authorize the public defender to reassign the remaining board-approved contract with Amanda Hayes Westendorp to a new contract with Carleen McNeil for conflict attorney services on neglect, abuse, and juvenile delinquency cases from January 1, 2021 through September 30, 2021 for the amount of $22,500. CPS 21/01-08 to authorize the Public Defender's Office to create a new holistic mitigation specialist position and fill the position with the board's approval. The holistic mitigation specialist will receive pay grade NX-00210, $22.39 to $28.18 per hour. CPS 21/01-09 to authorize the prosecutor to accept and authorize the county administrator to sign the fiscal year 2021 Burn JAG WEMET grant, MSP JAG 70834-WEMET-2021 in the amount of $16,284 and amend the budget accordingly. CPS 21/01-10 to accept and sign the fiscal year 21 Burn JAG WEMET grant, MSP JAG 70834-WEMET-21 in the amount of $16,284 and amend the budget accordingly. And that concludes my report.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion that's been supported. We need a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Laring,
No on CPS 21/01-08, yes on the rest.
No on 08 and yes on the rest. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes, on all.
thank you. Commissioner Pago,
I'm looking for my notes from last week's meeting. I believe I voted yes on all of them but one. I'm looking for my notes here. It was a public defender grant. Sorry about that. I had it in front of me. Now I moved my notes.
Commissioner Pago, I can come back to you on
Yes,
your
Pat,
vote.
thank you.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes on all.
thank you. Commissioner Brown,
Yes on all.
thank you. Commissioner Sear,
Here it is.
On all.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes on all.
I'm returning to Commissioner Pago.
Yes, I found my notes. Thank you, clerk. It was yes on all of them except for CPS 21/01-08. That was no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Chairman Skolnick,
Yes, on all.
thank you. That's yes on 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, it's 8 yes. 8 yes. It's now you've got me confused. It's 8 yes on 01, 02. It's 9 yes on 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07. It's 7 yes, 2 no on 08, and 9 yes on 09, and 9 yes on 10.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Pago.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is the report of the Ways and Means Committee. I might, Commissioner Sear, because all these items were read at the committee meeting, it's not necessary to read every single one of them. You can just refer to them by number, like, you know, that ends in 01.
Yes, I understand, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Ways and Means Committee met on January 7th, 2021, and it was recommended, and I moved that items WM 21/01-01-02-03-04 and -05.
Support.
Support.
Okay.
We got a motion and support to accept. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes on all.
thank you. Commissioner Pago,
No on 1, yes on 2, 3, 4, and 5.
thank you. Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes on all.
thank you. Commissioner Brown,
Yes on all.
thank you. Commissioner Sear,
Yes on all.
thank you. Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Laring,
No on 01, yes on the rest.
7 yes for 01, 2 no, 9 yes for 02, 9 yes for 03, 4, and 5.
Madam Clerk, thank you for including my vote.
I'm sorry.
You read my mind and you were,
I'm sorry, Commissioner Skolnick.
no, it's fine. Your mind reading was perfect. Yes on all. Thank you.
Thank you. 7 yes, 2 no on 01, 9 yes on 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. The next items are my report and the committee reports. The first item, there's some appointments. The museum board, term ending 12/31/2023. It's Jackie Engel. I think she's a reappointment, but I believe she was the only applicant. And the next appointment is the Health West Board, term through 12/31/2024. I, John Snyder II, and that's my appointment also. Moving on, well, the chairman's report and liaison reports. You should have received the chairman's liaison appointments for 2021 and 22. And the final item is the resolution condemning the storming of the U.S. Capitol building on January 6, 2021. And I'll make that motion.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion that's been supported. I know we've already talked about this, but is there anybody else that has anything new?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have a comment if I may.
Okay, Mr. Laren, go ahead.
So this is part of the problem. It's called lawlessness. We've already heard from corporate counsel. There is no state of emergency that's requiring this to be moved to the board for a decision today. This is not a crisis in Muskegon County, and the exemption is for an emergency that this type of resolution should come forward. I strongly object to it simply because, one, the language is inappropriate. It wasn't submitted to the board in time for review. It could have easily have came back on Thursday last week where it could have been in committee, and it didn't. It didn't come out till today where the public could view this. And secondly, I agree with one of the public comments. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. We all condemn violence. Every single one of us condemn violence. But this suggests that the Trump supporters were the ones creating acts of sedition and treason is absurd. We have seen in this over the last 6 months, from Baltimore to Portland, from Grand Rapids to Ferguson, we have seen cities burnt down, millions of dollars of infrastructure destroyed, businesses will never reopen, and an incredible amount of loss of life and injury to individual citizens. And to suggest that Trump supporters are the one that caused this is ridiculous. I strongly object to this resolution, and I think it's a sign of lawlessness that we're going to violate our own board rules by bringing this thing forward when there is no emergency, there is no threat to Muskegon County.
Okay, are there any other comments? I would like to say that there was a provision which we did to vote on this with the board with a 2/3 majority, which it received. Are there any other comments?
Mr.
Chairman,
Chair,
I'd like to make a comment. Oh, go ahead, Charles.
I just wanted to make a comment that, I think a major reason why you're getting such a response from the community is that one of our speakers spoke and said that words matter, and that is something that does matter. We have to understand too that we as county board commissioners have taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Michigan. And this is a stance that's also been taken when it comes to our elections. And this is not about a partisan issue. I think if people had went and had a peaceful protest, which this resolution does support, we would not be sitting here having to discuss this. But I think that this was, in many words, a sedition. And this was an attempt to overthrow the will of the people of this United States. And I think it's just really a shame. This goes against our oath. And I think that we as commissioners have to send a strong message that we're here to support these constitutions and support the people of our community and our country. And let's try to move forward, and let's try to come together as Americans and make this a better place for our community and our country. Thank you.
Okay, who
Chair,
else?
may I speak?
Yes, please.
Regarding the resolution, I would like to bring up the fact that one of the issues, I guess, we're supposed to support the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Michigan. I took an oath stating such. And unfortunately, in the elections, I know, at least in Michigan and some of the other states, that both the Constitution of the United States and the state of Michigan were violated according to the election rules and instructions. That's why I believe people are somewhat irritated at what's going on. Number two, down here it says that there are a threat to the nation's core democratic principles. And we talked about the United States as being a democracy. It is not a democracy. Words matter. It is a representation or a representative republic, and that's how that we're supposed to be governed. So that's the real issue I guess I have with the resolution. As far as what else the resolution says in condemning violence, I'm all in with that, and I think every commissioner is all in with condemning the violence that happened. Thank you.
Commissioner Bob, I would like to thank Commissioner Sierra for his comments, and I would say the same. I think that we all condemn any violence that has come up. And I think there's been some very good, compelling arguments on everyone's side. I'd like to make a motion to table this and have some further review of this resolution, if I may.
All right, we have a motion to table. Is there any other?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any other discussion on this? If not, roll call vote.
Wait,
vote.
I have.
All right, let's go. We got to move along here. It's late. Come on, Marcia. What else?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just Mr. Laring said that it doesn't say anything about Muskegon County, but there on his website, there he says, "Stay the course, hold the line." I'm assuming one would assume that's referring to some of the things that are threatened at the Lansing Capitol. So I think we need to be aware of that, and that's why we're doing this, to discourage violence in our own capital.
You know what happens when you assume, don't you?
Anybody else?
May I make a statement, Bob, Chairman, please?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you. Thank you. Commissioner Laring and Commissioner Sear and Commissioner Brown have all expressed the same concerns that I have with this. We all deeply mourn what happened in our capital this last week. I believe we do need to focus as Board of Commissioners on unity and peace by exerting ourselves 100% to the issues the people of Muskegon County elected us for. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have one follow-up comment as we move to table this, if I may. So a two-thirds vote is actually 6. So referring back to the lawlessness, if this board can't even obey its own rules, I recommend we table. The two-thirds vote is actually 6 commissioners. It only passed 5-4. So I do believe this it defies our own board rules. Whether it breaks a law or not, I'm not sure, but I do recommend this tabled.
Now I need to get a ruling from corporate counsel. Mike?
Yeah, so, turning back to the rules, it depends on how you view this resolution under the rules themselves. And so I can give you the text of the rule again, but certainly the board rules contemplate the county board addressing resolutions that are of a non-substantive matter. The ruling on whether or not they are substantive or not under that rule is the chair's ruling, subject to appeal under the board rules. So that section 1 of Rule 6 talks about emergency matters requiring a vote of 2/3 of the commissioners elected and serving. But then it also excludes staff recommended matters, routine county matters, and resolutions, proclamations, and tribute requests under section 2. And then it says the chairperson of the board shall decide whether a matter is substantive for purpose of this section, subject to appeal pursuant to section 8.
Okay, so Mike, I've been distracted here a little bit. So explain that to me. What does that mean exactly?
So typically, the board has considered in the past resolutions supporting some proclamation or tribute requests, and those are generally what I would refer to as non-substantive matters. I'll give you an example. This resolution, other than a condemnation of violence, has no legal import whatsoever. Doesn't have legal meaning. No action can be taken as a result of the resolution. It's the county board's public proclamation, if you will, that it is condemning the violence that occurred in the Capitol. So it is up to the chair to rule on whether or not this resolution then is a substantive matter or more of a routine county matter or resolution pursuant to Section 1 of Rule 6.
Okay, then I will rule this is not a substantial matter.
Thank you, Bob.
A resolution. So that means we can go ahead.
No, that means we table it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then I misunderstood.
No, I'm sorry. Let's back up. So there is a motion to table, which you have to deal with, but if the chair rules that it is a non-substantive resolution, then the board may vote on that resolution if you don't vote to table it, pursuant to Section 1 of Rule 6.
Okay. We'll have a roll call on the motion to table was seconded. Is that correct?
Correct.
It was seconded by Commissioner Pago, and I want to know who did make the motion because I couldn't catch the voice.
That was me. I made the motion.
I still don't know who is the commissioner speaking.
Commissioner Brown.
Thank you,
Yeah.
because I'm not seeing you and I don't know voices yet.
Oh.
So the motion was made by Commissioner Brown. It was seconded by Commissioner Pago to table number 11C on the resolution condemning storming.
Yeah, based on the information from our legal counsel, what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, I can withdraw that motion based on Bob's decision to not go with this. Is that correct for now,
Well,
or reword it?
We have to vote first.
Sorry. I will leave that up to you because you're making the motion. So just because it may be a matter that doesn't have to be referred to committee first because it is not a substantive or is a routine county resolution proclamation under that rule, you could still make a motion to table that and have a vote on it.
Okay, I will make a motion to table this
the motion-
resolution until further review.
The commissioner, the motion has already been made by you and seconded
you.
by Commissioner Pago. The question
Thank
was
you.
whether you were going to withdraw your motion on tabling.
Well, no, we'll leave it as a vote for now. Thank you.
All right, so we have.
Chairman Skonik, are you ready for the vote?
I am. Please, roll call vote.
Commissioner Pago to table.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Commissioner Sear.
Yes, as written.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
No.
Commissioner Hughes.
No.
Commissioner Laring.
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash.
No. And can we make sure that Commissioner Wilkins is understanding what
She's
votes
already
are wrong,
voted. She
right?
She
doesn't-
already casted her vote.
I think she understands.
And Chairman Skonik.
No.
So the vote to table is 5 yes, 4 no.
Motion tabled.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I guess that ends that. So the next item is the administrator's report.
Thank you, Chair.
What about
Those are my appointments. There's no vote on those.
Thank you, Chairman. My first item of the 3 items here is Muskegon County Airport. We did send you the answer to Commissioner Nash's question pertaining to any annual goals or annual measures. They're there. That was included also in last week's packet for your review. So at this point, with this 30-minute discussion we had earlier, it really comes down to the board making a decision either to go with the management style as we have done in the past, or move forward with F3 and finalize the contract through our corporate counsel.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the F3 contract and move forward with a management firm.
Second.
Mr. Chair, there was a motion on the floor to accept the F3 management
Okay,
firm.
I'm sorry. I had to walk away for a minute. Something was going on here. Okay, so I'm sorry. The motion is to accept the F3 proposal. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Is there any other discussion on that?
Mr. Chair, I just want to say a couple things before we vote.
Go ahead, Charles.
One thing for sure, I don't think everybody understands, but from what I've discovered and what I've heard, the county budget for the airport already includes an operations manager or the possibility of hiring someone. So that's not an additional cost. And we have the ability to hire the manager, and we also have the ability to hire an operating manager. And with the dedication of our employees, I just think that we're cutting them short of an opportunity. Again, and I'm going along with what Bob said, with the right opportunity, with the right person and the right operation manager, we could make a difference with this county airport, and we could still have more hands-on control of what's going on. And my experience is that every time we go with a firm, we end up losing a lot more money than we even make out in the contract. So for that reason, I will be voting no.
Chair, may I?
Yes.
I guess I'm a little concerned. I think we've been operating under a manager for quite some time now, and it doesn't seem like we've really made any positive progress out there. And I just worry a little bit if we hire another manager and then find out 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road that he's not making it, we're still losing money. I kind of am concerned about what may happen to the airport. So thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right.
Yeah, I
Looked
just
like
want
Marcia had her finger up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will reiterate that my experience with privatization has not been positive. I think anybody who's been in government any amount of time has seen that. We tried to privatize the prison food service, and that didn't work. We tried to privatize local fitness center. That didn't work. We tried to privatize the Muskegon Heights schools. That didn't work. They were left with an even bigger loss. And it all sounds good, but it's anyway. We did have a successful manager in the past, but not this last one. So.
Mr. Chair, I have one comment, if I may.
Okay.
So we've had decades of loss at this airport. If we don't do something to make a change, we might as well tear up the concrete and turn it into a blueberry field. We need to make some drastic change. We need to try something new. The old saying, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And we've had years of airport management out there, employees, and we haven't been able to make this thing go. So it's time for us to try something new.
Okay.
agreed.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Please read the motion again.
Come back to me.
you pass. Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
No.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
No.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
No.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
I
That's
think
six
one
yes,
thing,
3 no.
I have a comment that I've noticed in the past. When we've had especially the last 3 managers that we had at the airport, they come in and I think we gave them too much freedom because they come in like they know everything. And we took them, believing that they could do what they did, but they weren't any good. And that appears to be a problem that we have.
Okay, what was the vote? We already voted. Rose.
The vote was 6 yes, 3 no.
Okay, so that motion passes then. Okay, Mark, the next.
That was just a comment I wanted to make.
12B, a motion to accept and consent allowing Foster Swift, Collins Smith, the county's corporate counsel, and separately the Muskegon County Airport's Fixed Base Operators Council to represent both Executive Air, Fly-by-Air, and the County of Muskegon to resolve the lease and related issues.
So I would make that motion.
Second.
Okay, so we're voting to allow Foster, Swift, Collins, and Smith to represent both sides, not the same attorneys, not even in the same cities, but the same firm. And everybody's on notice that this is happening. They've agreed to do it, and their client is okay with it. So, are there any other questions here?
I just have one question for corporate counsel.
Okay.
Do you believe that you can actually get this accomplished?
I hope so. I will tell you this, if we cannot, then under the rules of professional conduct, we will have to withdraw from representing either the county or Fly-by-Air. So if we can't get a revised agreement that satisfies everybody, then we can't represent anybody.
Okay.
So hopefully we can come to some agreement and get a modification to allow. My understanding is, at least to some degree, the impact from COVID has delayed payments, and we're trying to right that ship. If we can do it, great. It works out for everybody, and if not, then the county and the other party will have to seek separate counsel.
So if we had to seek other separate counsel, that's going to incur more monetary funding outside of what we contract currently.
Yes.
Is there a way to avoid that?
Yes, that's what we're trying to do by working out some arrangement. So I hope that we will know fairly quickly whether we're going to be able to come to some terms on the payment that is owed to the county.
Thank you.
Mike, this is not an adversarial relationship here. We're trying to work together to work this out. Is that correct?
That's correct. Currently, it is not an adversarial relationship. It could turn that way, which is why we have to put that language in there that if it does, then we will withdraw.
Mr. Chair, I have a question, if I may. Mike, when was the contract let with the Executive Air? I am wondering, are they a new client of yours? Did they recently contract with you to arbitrate this, or have they been client for years? I mean, you've been our client for a couple of years. I'm just wondering how this came to be.
Yeah, I have not done any work for that client, but Jim Duzma in my firm, they have been a long-term client of his.
Okay. So it does concern me that we may have to hire new legal counsel just to represent the county, and but you don't know how long they've been a client of Foster Swift.
Very long time, but I don't have that specific information with me.
Mike, if I may, your partner is not even in the same city. Is that correct?
He's in the same city, but he will not be working on this issue. We have Scott Hogan from my office, who is real estate counsel, because it's going to require some revisions to lease agreements if we are able to resolve it satisfactorily.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, could I have a comment here, please?
yes, go ahead.
I'd just like to say that I'm disappointed that this was not brought to the board, that there was a problem here before. This has gone on for months and months and months, and we were never informed. And I think we should be informed when something like this happens before it gets to the point that we have to go to court. And I'm very disappointed that staff did not let us know this was happening.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Brown,
Can I pass reading the,
you pass. Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pagel, Commissioner Pagel,
Unmute, please. She's
Commissioner Pagel. I'll come back to you. Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
yes,
Commissioner Pagel,
Looks like she's not on the call anymore.
is she?
She's saying yes, I can hear her.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. And Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no.
Okay. and-
Chairman 12C, the extension of the emergency declaration. And before I go into that, I would like to give Sandra Vanderhyde the opportunity to speak, the circuit court administrator, on what the courts are doing, and it will help understand the purpose of this. So Chairman, could Sandra Vanderhyde speak? Go ahead, Sandra.
Thank you. Sandra Vanderhyde, the Circuit Court Administrator. So we in the courts do not fall under the plan for the DHHS in the state. We fall under the Supreme Court Administrative Office's plan for return to full capacity. It is a 4-phased approach, phase 1 having the most limitations, and phase 4 being whenever the United States declares that the pandemic is over. Last year, we went into phase 2 in June, and then in phase 3 in July. We were in phase 3 until the end of October, when we all saw the most recent surge. We then had to go backwards again into phase 1 in November. So we are still in phase 1. Now, the criteria to move forward in the phases is the same for each. It's that the state and local stay home, stay safe orders have been rescinded. There have been no COVID-19 cases within the court facility, or that appropriate responses have been taken to any. There is a downward trajectory of positive cases over a 14-day period in Muskegon County. And number 4, the regional healthcare facilities are able to, they have the capacity for the crisis in the area. So right now we are at phase 1. We meet every Monday morning. There's a group of us that meet to look over our local data. We meet with the public health director, Kathy Moore. We meet with Mark Eisenbarth, the prosecutor, the public defender, the chief judge of the circuit probate court, and the chief judge of district court, the court administrators, Clerk Waters, the sheriff. So we all meet to analyze this data. Right now, because we were down to a 9.6% positivity rate, but as of yesterday, we were at a 10.9% positivity rate. We aren't close to that 14-day downward trend in order to go into phase 2. We will meet again next Tuesday morning, since Monday is a holiday, to look at our data, but we can't proceed into phase 2 until we've had a 14-day in a row downward trajectory of our positivity rate. So we know we have at least a couple weeks at this point, since it recently had an uptick. And then after that, we'll have to have another 14-day downward trajectory, at least to go into phase 3. Now, the State Court Administrative Office recently updated phase 3. They did add a unique criterion for phase 3, and that's that we have to be at a 5% positivity rate. So we are currently in phase 1. It'll be several weeks before we can go into phase 2, and then we cannot go into phase 3 until we're at a 5% positivity rate. During phase 1 and phase 2, that's when our actual building, the Hall of Justice, is closed to the public, except for by appointment only. And just so you know, we are doing all of our court business, but we're doing it remotely. Our judges are up and running, doing court proceedings using Zoom. Our staff, we are doing all of our work remotely from home. Some staff are still going in. District Court does not have an electronic file system as the circuit court does. So they do have more staff reporting in the office for that purpose. What we can't do though is jury trials. We haven't figured out a successful way to do jury trials remotely. So that probably won't happen until closer to phase 3. So that's where the court is at in our return to full capacity plan under the State Court Administrative Office.
Any questions for Sandra?
I'm gonna make a motion to support the resolution.
Support.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment if I may. Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I have a comment there. So the motion was moved and supported, so we're in debate. I have an issue with this. We all know about the boy who cried wolf. This extension has been going on since March. I could understand it initially when we didn't understand what was going on with COVID. This basically enacts our emergency management team. They have never done anything other than maybe the first month or two. There's no need for them to be activated. There's no need for the administration to have extra powers under this authorization. This is basically another resolution to shift the blame over to the administration to give him powers he doesn't need. And there is no use in this. This is the boy that called wolf, and we need to start demobilizing this whole thing so we can move into full business within the county. We already saw from the health director that the case numbers are dropping significantly. We're past the curve. This whole thing started with the curve that has completely since Thanksgiving dropped way off, and we're still trying to declare this some form of emergency, and it is not an emergency since summer. This is the boy that cried wolf. Thank you.
Okay.
Agreed.
I guess we'll vote. There's been a motion on this and it's been supported. Is that correct?
It was moved by Commissioner Hughes and seconded by Commissioner Nash.
Okay.
You're ready for the vote.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sear,
No.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
5 yes, 4 no.
Oh, okay.
Chairman, that ends my report. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I want to go back, if I can, just for a second to your report under 11A and the appointments.
Okay.
I believe that these appointments likely need a motion and board approval, either under your rules or under the particular statute under which these boards exist.
I will make a motion to support the chairman's reports.
Can those be put on, please?
That's how we usually do it, Bob.
Okay, then we'll go back to 11A. I need a motion to.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Was that you, Susan?
Support.
Yes.
And there's support.
Will the secretary please post those?
They were sent to us.
So the motion was to appoint Jackie Engel to the museum board, term through 12/31/23, and to support, appoint I. John Snyder II to the Health West Board, term through 12/31/2024.
And I also make the motion to support the 21-22 commissioner liaison appointments.
Okay.
That's the one I want to see.
Open your email, Marcia. It's there.
Is it separate from this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we have 11A and 11B. So we'll have a roll, Madam Clerk, a roll call on those two items, 11A and B.
Is that
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Corporate Counsel addressed 11A, not 11B. Are these going to be separated and differentiated, or does he want to go back and talk
I
about
made
those?
the motions together.
Okay, for both.
Okay, the motion was 11A, both items there, and 11B. And there was a motion by Commissioner Hughes, and I don't remember who the support was.
Commissioner Nash.
Commissioner, okay, now I'm asking the county clerk to do a roll call vote.
On 11A and the liaisons together or separate?
Do them all.
Together is fine.
Okay. Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Pass.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no.
Did Commissioner Pego vote?
Yes, Commissioner Pago voted no.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. So that, thank you, Corporate Counsel. Keep me out of trouble while you can.
You think?
You're gonna be busy.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, item 13, unfinished business. Actually, I should have asked you about that, Mark. Is there anything there, or was that the airport?
Unfinished business? No, there's not.
Okay.
I actually have a question regarding that. When did we change the agenda to unfinished business from old business?
Yeah, really.
Mine says old business.
Mine says unfinished.
This is Kathy. I can address that.
Okay.
I went back and looked at our board rules that were changed, and it was actually supposed to be changed to unfinished business from old business, and we just didn't do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So, Mr. Chair, I do have a piece of old finished business. I'm not sure.
Wait,
So I turned in paperwork. May I go ahead, Bob?
Yeah, did you say unfinished business? Is that what you said?
Yes, I have some unfinished business I'd like to address.
Yes, go ahead.
I turned in paperwork to Clerk Waters requesting a federal forensic audit, and I would like to ask if she has applied for that, and if not, why?
So Commissioner Laring, you turned into me a sheet that was given to me as in your position as chair of the Muskegon County Republican Party.
Correct.
And I'm not addressing it now in a county commission meeting.
Public comment.
Okay. So it's not unfinished business for the county.
Correct.
Commissioner Laring, you could call her tomorrow, or you could, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer, but it's not, I don't think it's appropriate right now. Okay, is there any other unfinished or old business, whatever you want to call it, unfinished business? New business, is there any new business? Okay, now we have public comment on anything.
Ken Mahoney. Ken Mahoney. Is he able to unmute?
Ken, are you there? Mr. Mahoney? Okay, anybody else?
He's there.
He's muted.
Ryan Bennett.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, we're unmuted now. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Kathy G. Pellerin Mahoney, and I am the city clerk for the city of Montague. And I speak to you on behalf of in regard to the recent election that took place. And I heard under comment earlier by Mr. Sear that there were some irregularities in the election. And I'm here to tell you, in my role as a sworn officer of the city and as an election officer for the county of Muskegon and the city of Montague, that there were no irregularities and anything that was untoward in our elections. They were the most secure elections in the history of the United States of America. And anyone who would like to see the proclamation on this new board that the County Board of Commissioners made on behalf of all the election workers in the county, you may look that up in the archives under the November 19th, 2020 minutes of the Board of Commissioners, where all commissioners, including those who are seated at the commission today, who were back there then, voted unanimously to support it. So I just want to tell you that my election workers and the election workers of every one of my colleagues was impeccable, and we did a wonderful job. They did a wonderful job on this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mahoney.
Next up is Ryan Bennett.
Thank you, Vice Commissioner Nash and Commissioner Skolnick. Ryan Bennett, 1538 White Pine Court, speaking on behalf of the Lakeshore Community Labor Council, AFL-CIO. I just want to express my concern with the privatization efforts at the Muskegon County Airport, and I hope that we keep the workers at the airport in mind. Usually when there's a privatization, it's the workers who lose out, when the workers have the most to lose, but they also have the most insight as to what it would take to run a successful airport. So hopefully the new manager will keep them in mind, will treat them fairly, and give them a seat at the table when it comes to making decisions that will affect our airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Anybody else?
Next up, we have James Kelly, MSU Extension.
Thank you. Good evening. James Kelly, District Director for Michigan State University Extension. Earlier this afternoon, I sent an email to Administrator Eisenbarth with our final quarterly report for 2020 from Michigan State University Extension and asking him to pass it along to you. And I hope you'll take the time to read some of the highlights of our team supporting the residents of Muskegon County in the areas of career exploration, workforce development, community health and nutrition, 4-H youth programming, food safety, water resource education, support for commodity growers, chronic pain management and disease prevention, farm business education, social and emotional health, and more. I also included a copy of the Governor's Food Security Council report that was released today. I'm pleased to again highlight that Wade Sayers, our food safety educator, positioned in Muskegon, was selected to serve on that council. So in anticipation, thanks for taking the time to read our updates, and I would encourage you to pass that on to your constituents if you're able to. And I also want to just commend the new commissioners for taking time to participate in the new county commissioner school that MSU Extension hosted in partnership with the Michigan Association of Accountants. It was good to see people participating in that. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Next up, we have Kip Smith.
Hello. Yes, I'd like to also respond on what KP was talking about on it being put into discussion as a fact about corruption or problems in the election. It's great to have a belief. We all have beliefs, and that's I would never deny anybody a belief. But as a commissioner, I would hope that the commissioners will not make their belief and put it in as a fact, because that's just wrong. Beliefs are wonderful, and we're all Americans. But yeah, let's not present beliefs as facts, especially when those beliefs have been unproven. Thank you for your time.
Next up, we have Michael Del Percio.
Thank you. I just wanted to make one more comment about the resolution that's been tabled. I find it unacceptable to single out that particular instance at the Capitol. If you want to put such a resolution out, I think you need to go back and include all of the divisiveness that we encountered during the summer of 2020. Otherwise, I believe you're singling out a separate group of people and you're driving a wedge further into that division. 80 million people is what you're trying to drive a wedge between, unless you acknowledge all of that. So far as COVID is concerned and the extension of the emergency, all the other states, not all the other states, but our neighboring states, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana, have successfully opened up their economies, and they are not finding a lot of people all of a sudden coming to the COVID-19 virus. I just think we're going down the wrong path. And I don't really want to speak to the election, but there were a lot of rules abrogated by the executive portion of the the Michigan State leadership. And those rules were illegal because they were not adopted by the legislator. And that's what most people are objecting to. Thank you.
Next, we have someone with their hand but no name.
Commissioner, for security reasons, we have not been allowing that.
Yeah, I don't recommend that because we don't have a name to identify.
Okay.
Other than that, we don't
Can I
have.
make a public comment?
No, you have a board comment.
No, but I can make a
I'm
public comment,
sorry,
correct?
a commissioner can make public comment.
Go ahead, Melinda.
Mr. Chair, may I make a public comment as a citizen?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Regarding I wear also the hat of the Muskegon County Republican Party Vice Chair, and we did submit a letter to Clerk Waters. I'm going to recite that letter. We are contacting you due to the controversy surrounding the recent elections. Oh, might I add, our former GOP chair did also speak to that resolution in November when that resolution was presented during public comment. I'll continue with the letter. Concerns that have been raised by citizens of this county and those across Michigan related to the accuracy of voting machines and software that were utilized in counting the votes. We are respectfully requesting that you immediately ask for the assistance of the federal government regarding this important matter. On behalf of all of the voters in our county, we are asking that you request these federal resources to undertake a cyber forensic review of the technology of the machines and software under your control. We firmly believe that a professional review of the operations of these machines, their operating software and connectivity functions are necessary in order to report to the voters that our systems are safe and secure. If they are not secure, to understand through a cyber forensics report what the potential problems are and how they can and may have been affected through the 2020 election results and how it should be fixed for elections going forward. The goal of this request is to help you fulfill the second point of your mission statement, to always conduct the county clerk's office as a public trust with the highest standards of excellence, integrity, fairness, teamwork, and in the best interest of those we serve. We all want to ensure transparent and accurate election results, and we would appreciate your immediate action to request this assistance on behalf of all of the voters of Muskegon County, Michigan. We are looking forward to helping you in this important project. We look forward to supporting you in this important effort. And this was signed by our current GOP chair, myself, and our other two new Republican commissioners. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else? Okay, final board comments.
Chair, I have
go ahead, Zach.
So again, I am getting a lot of calls from the press regarding this forensic audit. They are looking for an answer whether it has or has not been filed with the federal government. I did talk to the originator. They can have a team here in 24 hours to do this forensic audit, and there's no cost to the county. It's all paid for by the federal government, and it would clarify a lot of things for a lot of people and finally put this election to rest here in Muskegon County. So I hope that we do pursue with that. I will call Clerk Waters tomorrow morning to find out if she's filed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to address these comments.
Yes, go ahead, Madam Clerk.
As the county clerk, I am the chief elections officer. And I want to tell you that every city and township clerk is responsible for the elections. They have their own equipment. I don't provide any of the equipment. They have their own machines, and the requirements by statute that we all are required to file. I've indicated to you, Commissioner Laring, that the Board of Canvassers who canvassed all of this, and you'll recall that we had an open meeting 5 days. It consists of the Democrat and Republican for each of the tables that we're going through, every single ballot and report and everything. And every single one of them said that everything was conducted properly and legally in Muskegon County. And in fact, Pat Camp, who is a Republican, happens to be the chair of the Board of Canvassers. At this point, we are not authorized. I would not ask my city and township clerks to prepare to get any equipment ready. I've indicated to you that the equipment that you may be making reference to was the Dominion equipment, which we do not use here in Muskegon County. We use the Hart equipment. And therefore, for these reasons, I do not intend to ask for a forensic examination.
Okay, anybody else?
Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
Mr.
I
Chair.
just want to make one
Oh.
comment on this.
Go ahead, Charles.
There was a audit that was done that did an actual audit of the hand ballots, the paper ballots. This ballot determined that there were no errors, there was no conspiracy, and this is just more continuance of the same thing. So I just digress.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Chair?
Kim,
Yes, I just like, because of the comments I've heard, I just like to address a couple of issues here. One of the things that, I'm talking about the constitutionality of the voting process. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, without legislative approval, unilaterally abrogated Michigan election statutes relating to absentee ballot applications and the signature verification. And also on May 19, 2020, she also announced that her office would send unsolicited absentee voter ballot applications by mail to 7.7 million registered Michigan voters prior to the primary and general elections. Although her office repeatedly encouraged the voters to vote absentee because of COVID-19 pandemic, it did not ensure that Michigan's election systems and procedures were adequate to ensure the accuracy and legality of the historic flood of mail-in votes. In fact, it did the opposite and did away with protections designed to deter voter fraud. That's just one of many that I have. I'll just leave it at that. But that is why my opinion is the election was unconstitutional. Thank you.
Marcia?
No.
No, okay. Even though I'm chair, I think I can make a public comment. I just want to say that I'm disappointed about the tabling of the resolution to condemn the storming of the Capitol building. I have literally had hundreds of people contact me about why we haven't said anything about it. And I promised them, probably foolishly, that this would be on Tuesday, it would be forthcoming. This resolution doesn't blame anybody. It's just expressing our outrage and are condemning the violent acts that occurred at the U.S. Capitol. Now, I understand that there's been some discussion about calling us something democratic. I don't remember the words right this second, but that we're some kind of a constitutional republic. That at this point, we're talking about the destruction and the murder of 5 people, and it just wouldn't have taken much to do that. So now we've tabled it. It'll come back. It's just going to cause a lot of people to be more disappointed, and it would have been easy to do. So it's tabled. I have no control over that, but I'm sorry. So, okay, with that, I need a motion to go into closed session.
Wait, I have a short thing.
Okay, quickly.
Okay, I just want to encourage my fellow commissioners to sign up for eviction crisis webinar tomorrow from 1 to 2, just an hour. And I think we need to be prepared for possible evictions and know what we can do about it. Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, can I have a roll call to go into closed session?
First, you have to have a motion.
Oh,
So
I
moved.
make that motion.
Moved by Commissioner Nash, seconded by Commissioner Hughes.
Okay, we're going into closed session. Do I need to state, to discuss legal, confidential, legal?
Regarding
It's
two
right, it's
items.
right on your agenda.
Okay,
Hey, Chairman, before you read that, one of our attorneys had to leave. So what we ask is that we postpone A until the next full board, next Tuesday, excuse me, which is Ways and Means.
okay. Do I need a motion to?
Well, we'll accept that amendment.
Okay, so we're going into closed session to discuss item B at this point.
You need to read it, please.
We're going into closed session, and this is the wordage. Pursuant to MCL 15.268E, to consult with the county's attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with the State of Michigan Court of Claims case number 20-000420-MB, Muskegon County and Health West, an agency of Muskegon County versus the State of Michigan AL. That's it. So, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
9 yes to go into closed session.
Okay. Kathy, are you gonna put us in another room?
Yes, they are. Be there shortly.
Okay.
Am I just waiting? Is that? Okay, I just didn't know.
Kathy, can you hear me talking?
Yes.
Somebody's got pizza on the brain.
All right, I think we're ready for the motion.
I make a motion to go back into open session.
So moved.
Bob, we can't hear you, muted. Still muted, Bob. We'll see if we can unmute you.
Okay. All right. All right. There was a motion. It was supported to go back into open session. Roll call, please. Nancy?
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner Hughes,
Susie?
Commissioner Hughes to go back into session.
He went out.
No vote. Commissioner Larry?
Yes.
There she goes.
Oh, Commissioner
Yes.
Hughes, thank you. And Chairman Skolnick.
Absolutely, yes.
9 yes.
Okay, so now, do you realize it's at 6:30?
Yes.
Yes, it's
So I'll
6:30
make
in
a
the
motion.
morning. Does
Sure.
everybody know that?
Uh,
It's time to get up.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Motion, there's been a motion, it's been supported. All those in favor say yes.
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 We're adjourned.
Yes, see, I tried to vote yes.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
Okay.
Mm.